All right, we're back.
Oh, okay.
Trilogy Office Talk.
Office Talk.
Getting ready for Mercer County Park. We're going to review some film from our Radar Invitational that takes place at Mercer County Park.
Same location.
So we'll be there in 2 weeks for the Veterans Day Classic. By the time you see this, might be less than a week. So we're going to look at first a goal from one of our good friends, ICE participant, longtime friend of Trilogy, the Williams family, Aiden Williams, playing for Evolution.
Evolution, based right here in New Jersey.
Yeah, Matt Pokrowski, great program. We'll see them at Veterans Day, maybe on this very field.
So we got big lefty midi getting to his spot, right? And this is where you freeze it right here. Great spacing, right? Great spacing. And I like you bring the second guy here. So there's the potential threat of a two-man game.
The illusion of a pick.
The illusion of a pick allows him to kind of go either way. You can see, right? From a spectator's perspective, where's this guy going to go, right? He wants to get to his left hand, strong left-handed player. There's an opportunity to sweep here. You can see all the green grass, right in front of the cage. Beautiful spacing off ball to enable that, number one. And then by bringing that second guy to the ball, if you win that kind of mini two-man game, there's one less defender off ball, right?
Yeah, I'd really like to see this defender take a much higher topside angle. And I think you bring up that point. As he starts to drift over into this spot, we watch, I think the defender, at first, he's in a good position, but then he needs to take 3 to 4 shuffle steps to the right. His right, which will be to the left of the camera, that will force Aiden Williams to go down this alley and either use this two-man game or that player to clear through, and then you have a slide guy. So right now, this defender already is giving Aiden Williams a little too much space to get that top side. I think if he takes 2 steps to his right, he's going to take that away a little bit better.
Yeah, dynamic change of direction immediately gains leverage, right? Immediately gains leverage, gains separation. So now defensively, you got to be prepared. Who's going here? So and from my perspective, you've got kind of 2 offensive players kind of a little close to each other. I mean, they're spaced out, but one's a threat, one's not. You got 2 defenders. There's your hedge situation, right? That adjacent player opposite the field, you got to go. You've got to come and then trust at your rotation behind the play here. But there's still this huge lane to cut right down the middle for Aiden. So it's just a matter of how aggressively and then how does he manipulate or play off the slide.
Well, to your point, this adjacent defender, this defenseman could literally whack him with a stick and say, go.
Yeah.
He's so close to him. And that's the part, to your point, this offensive guy, he needs to get lower or just get out of the way. But this defender, it's his responsibility, being the second slide, to push this adjacent defender. He doesn't even have to slide. He just needs to step into this hole, and then he can recover to either of these 2 outside players. You see here, he just stays so far wide, and you've got 2 white jerseys basically 1.5 yards away from each other where one player could cover it. This guy is 25, 35 yards away from the goal.
Yeah.
He's not scoring, right? So leave him.
No, and what Aiden does as the ball carrier, he uses his head, right? He's staring at that original guy in the two-man game. So his defender, he's already identified, okay, this guy's looking to slide. He was initially in the two-man game, so he's thinking he's still a part of this play. Even though I've swept and I'm gone completely away from this two-man game, he thinks he's still involved in the two-man game. So he's like, okay, maybe I'm the help guy. So Aiden's staring down his initial two-man partner. You can see the second slide guy already preparing to come up too, right?
And he does a nice job there. He's one guy, I think, defensively that does the right thing. He slides, he anticipates, and I'm hoping he's communicating to this guy, hey, I got your two, I'm filling up.
So beautiful blend of athleticism and then creativity. So Aiden wins the initial one-on-one matchup, and then now here comes the deception. I've identified where I'm going to throw the ball, and now, boom, that little hitch fake. I'm going to get that guy. Look, he's turned his back. The whole defense frees. There's the slide we wanted to happen originally, right? There's the slide that we wanted to happen originally. A little bit of movement on that backside with the drift down the backside, right? And then late, and then hammer.
And that defender eventually goes, but we talk about you always want to be below the ball. At this point, he's not low enough to slide across the field and stop him. He needs to either go now or drift lower, like you said, help in so he can take an inside-out slide. As you see, by the time he does slide, he's actually behind Aiden Williams, and so he tries to get a little poke check, but it's no match. And it's just too late as he lets that thing fly.
And on off ball on that backside, initially not great spacing, but then there's some solid drift into a nice little triangle. So you're going to see this low right crease guy, this freeze it right here, this low right crease guy. He drifts in, this guy drifts down. This guy needs to be a little bit lower, right? If he was right here, if he was right there, then it would enable that pass forward if that slide occurred. So better spacing than was initially set up, but just late, no slide. Williams, Aiden turns the corner and absolutely buries this.
You know, he used to be so good at this, Kyle Dixon. Do you remember that? He would drift down that side, and I mean, he could
Sadly,
let it fly from.
Yeah, unfortunately. So let's take a look at the highlight here. Let's look at some a little more of the intricacies here. And really, it's about the shot placement, right? So it's about the manipulation right there
I think
of
it's
the slide.
That fake, yeah, that fake right there completely freezes that defender from sliding. If he had just kept going, I think that defender probably would have slid early. But that little head fake makes him think, he's probably going to dump this off. And that half a second gives him what he needs to keep going.
And then from a shot placement, right, you're going across the middle of the field. The goalie's stepping with you. So shooting behind the goalie, right, using his momentum against him. And then beautiful off-stick placement, not so the goalie can just punch across, a little bit lower in that kind of upper hip area. Tough spot.
Just beats him right to the spot. All right, so for this one, we're going to look at a true blue long pole, little point on the board, getting an assist here. But what I want to do is I want to look at the highlight first. You look at the oohs and the ahs that you see on Instagram or on Twitter or whatever it is, but then you can see how it develops. And this is a great example of how these things come together and how they develop. So right here, we just get a beautiful, almost like a no-look skip pass. Would like to see him come across the top of the crease, maybe take one more step to improve his angle, but you know what? He scores there. So just a nice look from a pole down to an attackman to score. Looks nice on film. It's a great angle from our cameraman, Luke Schrodel.
A little fake high, shoot low, some manipulation inside there. Yeah, would have loved to see him get around the crease, but tough to argue with the goal.
But let's go to the actual video and let's see how this develops. So we've got Cavalry here. They're on offense. They actually look for the skip pass, but a nice knockdown there by the defense, and they get it up and out. And I really like the hustle here. Pushes up the sideline. A little bit of a dangerous play. He's running right into a murderer's row.
Yeah, don't recommend running directly by the sub box, but
just ask Max Sebald. And
yeah.
What was that? 2007 in our Final Four game against Duke. Same thing. Guy came out of the box and absolutely leveled him. But yeah, little dangerous area.
Yeah,
but great.
Maybe
Look
a
at the
roll
wheels.
back and swing across, but okay. But freeze it right here. We've got a 5-on-4, right? We've got the two white offensive.
A little bit further.
Yeah, thanks. We got a 5-on-4. So the two offensive players there,
3,
plus this guy. And it is just mayhem behind the scenes, right? I think this break just kind of caught everybody by surprise. Slow break. Defensively, if you're the point defenseman, freeze right, you got to be telling that mini what to do. He doesn't know what to do. And even if he does think he knows what to do, you want to direct traffic, right? So you're the point defenseman. You're shouting one of two things, right? What are you telling that offensive midfielder that's getting back? How are you directing traffic?
You're basically either taking the point or you're taking the ball, and you're telling that midfielder to do the exact opposite.
Yep.
So if I'm saying, I got ball, you take point. If I say, I got point, stop ball. The issue here is this defense, look how high up all four defenders are. These are 5-yard segments, so he's 5 yards up. This defender is at least 5 yards up and then about probably 10 to 12 yards up. And then both of our midfielders are getting back, or one of our defenders is in this mix. So these guys are way too far away from the goal, way too far away from their attackman. I'd like to, anytime you see a break coming, you need to get all the way back in, match up with your attackman, and then talk through, as you mentioned, with your midfielders.
You're creating a box here. You're creating a box, and instead we have like a straight line.
So this defender, he's not in a terrible position. He could be lower and tighter to his man. This defender is the one that's just way too high. Because right now, this defender and this midfielder, they could play this 3-man, 3-on-2, no problem. They could slow that down enough. But he's kind of in no man's land. So we've got this 3-on-3 and then a clear 2v1 on the backside. And this defender, who's probably in the best spot, is really caught between a rock and a hard place. Lefty shooter, great position to score. Righty shooter, great position to score.
So you get the initial slide, the low defenseman cheats up. That's what creates that skip lane, right?
So it happens quick. That's the thing. We're talking about this. We're pausing it. We're slowing it down. But this is why it's so important to get back. This is where this defender's got to get all the way below his attackman. This defender's got to get nice and low. And then whoever this top, let's see if we can see where that defender is as he's guiding. So it's this is the third defender, and this is the midfielder running in.
Yeah.
So this defender needs to get much lower, push him to get lower,
Yes.
and then direct this player
To the backside.
To the backside. And he even could stay where he is. He's not in a terrible place, but he is going to get caught between these two offensive players if this long pole does a nice job of drawing him and dumping it. But it all starts with this guy almost crowding him. He exploits that and gets that backside.
Good vision here by the long pole. And the other thing that I love that he does is he resists the urge to throw the ball across the field, right? Push the ball down the side, whether that's the point man or a skip. Push it down the side, stay on the same side, as opposed to throwing that cross-field pass that, like, looks very appealing, but, like, 80% of the time is a turnover.
Yeah, just hard to handle. Great skip look and a good finish there. Mad Dog North versus Thunder. We got some BTB action.
Yes.
But not to jump too far ahead. The thing I love about this clip, this is like classic 4v3. So we
Classic.
talked about transition in one of our other clips. We talked about settle offense, but this is about as clean as it gets in terms of a 4-on-3. And the highlight is just crisp, clean passing, finding the next man, and then burying. But let's take a look at how it develops here. Tough ground ball. Picked up and moved up ahead. Love that. Head goes up right away. This defender knocks the ball down. He picks it up. Immediately is looking upfield. Great hustle by the midi. I really like this hustle by the Thunder, but instead of going to the ball, I want to see him just get back.
Just get in.
He not only does he hustle, but he gives the offensive player a boost, right? He's like,
Turbo
there you
boost.
go. I'm going to push you. Look, he pushes him so hard, he teleports. Watch this. Teleports 5 yards up. I think that's
you love the effort. It's just misguided. Just get in there. Just get in there.
Yeah, he gives him that boost, pushes himself back a yard, and now we've got this clean 4v3 fast break.
Do you want to point it out, or you want me to?
The fact that our point man is basically at midfield.
We gotta get in. We gotta just get in.
That's the
super tight.
That's the theme of the day. Anytime they're transition, it's like what you learn in 4th grade lacrosse. Drop back. Communicate, point left, right, and they're to be fair, they're in a point right left.
Yeah, everyone's set up appropriately.
It's just the point is legitimately that's one step away from the restraining line.
Yeah,
and then that forces this slide
to be super long,
to be 8 to 10 yards, and then wait till we see the recovery for the point man.
The recovery is a good 15 to 18 yard sprint here after the ball's moved.
And he does it. He gets back down the hole. I would like them to turn towards the ball. Yes. Anytime you stop the ball, you want to open up towards the ball. But it's just so far to go that even with a catch and another ball movement, he's still sprinting. But love that coming towards the ball. Love that coming across the crease so that way he can receive that and make a play.
Well, it's the decision. Once that one more pass is made, right? So I think the skip was probably there, right? So your progression, once you hit this point guy, I think he probably could have skipped one more and just gone right to the skip. Yeah. Skip the one more. Bypass the one more and gone right to the skip. I mean, you see the rotation happening, right? But once that happens, you got to make a decision if you're this low left attackman. Are you waiting for the ball? Are you cutting behind this rotation? But because that defenseman is so high, he probably could have just waited for the ball, honestly. But he wanted to make sure of it, which is why he kind of cut in front. There's a little risk involved in that because, as you see, when you do that, you just eliminate angle every single step that you take. So there is some risk involved in this cut. But I think given the fact that that guy was coming right down, rotating right down for him by going to the ball, it just cuts down the amount of time that pass has to take.
Yeah, and he runs away from where that defender is initially running. Right. You can see, watch the defender's going towards where he was, and then he takes a little bit of a left-hand turn, and that allows him to catch this with the defender on his back. And like you said, loses angle, but whoop, a little Chris Berman action there. Let's look at the clean finish here.
It's the right decision in the moment, right? You're cutting across the crease. You catch that cleanly. The goalie's going with you. opportunity to add a layer of deception, increase your shooting angle, right? But you can see, go back to the point guy real quick. He doesn't even look for the skip. And that was my point earlier, is I think he had to skip right away. So when you catch that pass, you're scanning, right? Your first instinct to shoot, and then you're scanning, skip to one more. That's just how your natural vision, right? The natural pathway of your vision occurs. And you want to identify if that low base defenseman, is he over-rotating, right? In this case, he was over-rotating. You could have just gone right to the skip.
And that's a perfect example of why you drag your stick in the lane. So that way they see a stick, they're a little, I don't know if that's actually there. So defensively, if you just have your stick in that lane, they might look for the skip and be discouraged, and that half a second of hesitation could be the difference between making that skip pass and getting scored on behind the back and then going on the Trilogy Office Talk podcast, video cast, whatever you call this thing.